All right, welcome, welcome. We're back. We had a little technical difficulties, but we back, man. Had some technical difficulties, but we back. Just get everything set up. Gonna get everything set up. All right, we are talking about Bleacher Reports top 100 NBA players. We are live on YouTube. We are live on TikTok. This is my first time going live on anything, so we're going back and forth on both. I'm gonna try to read both chats, and we're talking about the top 100 players. The top 100 players according to Bleacher Report. Top 100 players. If you're in the chat, drop if you want me to talk about a specific player, but we are talking about the top 100 players that Bleacher Report listed. And I'm going to get started similar to the video I made earlier. I'm going to talk about who should not be on the list. Who should not be on the list. And the two names I'm starting with are Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell. They should not be on the top 10, top 100 NBA players ever. You got to get rid of them. In fact, let's get rid of anyone who played before the year 1975, maybe 1980. I know some people are upset, but I got to say it. And the reason why I'm saying that is because they played a completely different game. They played a completely different game than what we're watching today. Let's go through some of the things that are different from their era versus the modern game of basketball. Okay. Number one, there was no three-point line. Can you imagine if you took the three-point line out of today's game, what would the NBA look like? You would not even recognize what you're seeing. So if you go back and look at that footage from Wilt's games, look at the footage from Bill Russell's games, it was impressive because they were dominating against the other guys they were playing against, but it's not modern basketball. So it's very, very hard for me to talk about them as modern NBA players. It's very hard for me to do it and say that they're better than Shaquille O'Neal. There's no three-point line. There's no 3 seconds. In fact, goaltending was a completely different rule. And how many teams are in the NBA? 8 teams. So you're telling me that I'm supposed to rank a guy in the top 10 when he only played against 7 other teams? Every year that he went into the league, his chance of winning was exponentially higher than guys who played against 30 teams. It's impossible. It is impossible for me to rank them in the top 10 above Kobe Bryant and Steph Curry when they played in an era where people weren't even full-time basketball players. During the offseason, they drove cabs. They worked at summer camps. They were summer school teachers. They were not even full-time athletes. This is no exaggeration. This is literally what it was. So how is it possible for me to rank them in the top 10? I just cannot do it. I will not do it. They deserve to be recognized as pioneers of basketball. Bill Russell, all of the racial things that he went through, all of the civil rights and the injustices that he stood for, a player coach in a time when there were no black head coaches or any black coaches at all. Salute. You will always have my respect. But if we're just talking basketball, there's no way that you could say that those guys should be, in the top 10. It's impossible. And now I got to go through some names who aren't on the list. Let's go through some names who are not on the list. Who's not on the list of the top 10 players of all, top 100 players? Who's not on the list of the top 100 players of all time? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think I'd bet any amount of money right now that there is no other league MVP and NBA Finals MVP who's not on this top 100 list. How can you say that you're going to list the 100 greatest players of all time, but the guy who just had almost a perfect season, averaged more than 30 points per game, was the MVP of the entire league for the regular season, was the Western Conference Finals MVP, and then won the Finals MVP, is not one of the 100 greatest players ever? How could you tell me that? How could you tell me that? It's impossible. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is not better than Artis Gilmore. Has anybody here heard of Artis Gilmore? I haven't. So it's crazy for me to say that Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is not on this list, but Artis Gilmore is. Dave Bing. Dave Bing is on the list, but Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is not. Clay's my guy. I'm not going to talk about Clay. Clay should be here. Bernard King, Knicks legend. I'm a New York. Joe Dumars, Finals MVP. He's there. Who's this man? D. Boucher. Come on, brother. What are we doing here, Bleacher Report? What are we doing here? It makes no sense. You know who else is on this list? Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic is on this list. Is Luka Doncic better than Shea Gilgeous-Alexander? I have a hard time believing it. If anybody believes that he's better, please tell me in the chat what Luka Doncic has done in the league that makes him better than Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. What has Luka Doncic done in the NBA that makes him better than Shea Gilgeous-Alexander? Somebody will have to tell me because I don't know. Luka Doncic has no MVPs. Luka Doncic has not won a ring. Steph Curry is the GOAT. We gonna get to Steph in a second. Stick around. We'll get to Steph. All my Steph, all my Curry fans in the chat. W's in the chat, man. W's in the chat for that. We'll get to Steph, but let's talk about Luka and Shea and Jason Tatum. We talk Jason Tatum too. How is it possible that Luka Doncic is ranked higher than Shea Gilgeous-Alexander when in the same era, the same years, Shea is washing him up? You see, this is why it's not about the 100 best players. It's about who's a media darling. Luka plays in LA. Luka is a Nike athlete. Luka came into the league beloved in Europe. That's why he's here and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is not. That is the reason why. That's the reason why. Now you want to talk about Steph? Let's talk about Steph. I had some people in the YouTube chat who said Steph didn't accomplish enough yet to be ranked higher than number 10. So let's go down to Steph. Shout out my uncle Chauncey Billups, man. Number 91. Shout out Unc. That's my uncle right there. Let's go down to Steph. 20. And if you're here on TikTok, I'm live on YouTube, so you can see my screen, so you can see exactly kind of what I'm navigating. Let's go here. Let's go to Steph Curry right here. All right. They have Steph Curry ranked at 10, and someone said Steph did not do enough to be above that ranking. All right, let's get into it, man. Steph Curry is the 4-time champion. I don't even need to read off the screen. 4-time champion, 2-time league MVP, 1-time finals MVP, 11-time All-Star, led the league in steals once, okay? 24 points per game for his career, the all-time leader in threes, one of the few guys who's a main player on a team who averages more points in the playoffs and NBA finals than he does during the regular season. Steph has been the most valuable player to any franchise ever. He's taken the Warriors to the highest NBA valuation of any team, and they were ranked in the bottom 15 when he got on the Warriors. How is it possible that he's only number 10? You know what else Steph Curry is? He's the only unanimous MVP ever. Michael Jordan is the best player ever. He was never the unanimous MVP where every person who voted said Mike is the best. But in 2016, every single person who had a vote said Steph Curry is the best player in the NBA today. That singular achievement alone should tell you that he should be ranked higher than 10. That singular achievement alone should tell you Steph Curry should be ranked higher than number 10. No one's done it. There's never been a player in the league who's been guarded, face guarded, the minute he crosses half court. It's never existed. He's one of the few guys, I could say him, Wilt Chamberlain, Shaq, who are singular players who no one else has ever been guarded or ever been played like those guys. Only 3 players in history. He's the only player who's not 7 feet tall with a 7'4" wingspan like those guys are. So how is it possible that Steph Curry's ranked number 10 on this list? Now, only unanimous MVP, only player to be guarded like this. What about him as a shot creator? I've been having this debate in my comments all day. Steph's not a true point guard. He doesn't create for others. You know, that's a kind of a crazy statement to me, and I'll tell you why. Because the way that Steph Curry creates for others is unique as well, because he's the best player without the ball in his hands. Without the basketball in his hands, Steph Curry's the most dangerous player ever. Who in the world could say that they got Kevin Durant wide open looks for 3 years straight? Who in the world could say that? Who in the world could say that they got LeBron James wide open looks in the Olympics with a gold medal on the line? Steph Curry was double and triple teamed, and they left LeBron James open. You see, he creates for others when he has the ball because you have to pay extra attention to him so he gets easy backdoor cuts and layups. And then when he doesn't have the ball, whoever's guarding him in these split actions or off these pin downs or off these screens, it gets wide open looks for whoever the other guy in the action is. No one in the history of the game has that. Michael Jordan is the best player ever, was never guarded like this. Steph at number 10 is a crime. Steph Curry's top 5, dead or alive, bar none. Call your grandfather who watched Bill Russell. Call him. Tell him I said it. Call your favorite LeBron stan. Steph ain't did enough to be on Braun and MJ level, honestly speaking. I don't think Steph Curry's on Michael's level. I don't think anybody's on Mike's level. Mike is the GOAT hands down. Is he on LeBron's level? Yes, he is. Thank you for the comments. I appreciate you. Shout out Malachi. W's in the chat from Malachi. But he's on LeBron's level. And here's why. They played in the same era. In 22 years of LeBron James' career, he has 4 rings. Steph Curry won 4 rings in 7 years. Steph Curry accomplished in 4 years what it took LeBron James 22 years to do. 3 of those rings, he beat LeBron James. So you cannot tell the story of LeBron James without Stephen Curry. And Stephen Curry has the upper hand here. I think LeBron James is the second best player of all time. I think LeBron James is the second best player of all time. But Steph Curry, I think, is number 3 or number 4. So I think they're comparable. LeBron obviously has a defensive edge. So I think that's what separates the two, is really just the physical talent that LeBron has, being 6'9". That's the big difference in the two to me. Steph Curry can't control his height. KD was the best player on Steph teams. I will agree with you there for one of those years. For 2017 or 2018, I will agree with you. I think that first ring, correct. He was better. But I think the key word in what you said right there was Steph's team. That was Steph's team. So because it was Steph's team, that takes a little bit off of Durant. KD was not the leader. He was not. KD's been very vocal, and he said that he's not the type of leader who comes out and you'll see him talk. He was brought into a system that was built on winning, which is one of the reasons why he went to Golden State in the first place. Is because that the winning culture and playing the game the right way. So the vocal leader, you got Draymond Green, but the person who leads by example, Stephen Curry. The person who leads by example, Stephen Curry. I'm taking 2017, 2018, and 2019. KD got way less coverage. Got way less coverage than Curry. Yeah, that's a fact. Stephen Curry was double teamed more times than Kevin Durant. Tyrone Lewis on record, he said the game plan was to stop Steph Curry. Grayson, you are 100% right. I agree with you. My dog is barking. Hold on. Steph choked a 3-1 lead. All right, yes, yeah. They blew a 3-1 lead. Should we get to the context though? Sprained MCL. He had surgery in the offseason. Andrew Bogut goes down with the injury. Draymond Green is the only starting player to ever be suspended in the NBA Finals. Thank you, Adam Silver. So there's a lot of factors that went into them blowing that 3-1 lead. Shout out to LeBron. Shout out to Kyrie. That's one of the greatest 3-game stretches of any player ever. Any players, duos ever. I think they average over 35 points per game, 5, 6, and 7. What can you do? Sometimes players get hot, but we got to add context. And KD did choke a 3-1 lead against the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. He did. He blew a 3-1 lead, him and Russell Westbrook. So that 2016 is one of the greatest years of basketball, and that's one of the greatest playoff years ever. We probably saw two things that we most likely will never see again. A team blowing a 3-1 lead in the Western Conference Finals, and then a team blowing a 3-1 lead in the finals. We will probably never see that again. We'll never see that again. Any more Steph Curry stuff before I move on? Anyone have any more Steph questions from YouTube before I move on? All right, hold on one second. All right, let's get to Kobe. Let's get to Kobe. Rooting for them against Portland and rooting for them against Sacramento. So give me a second. Let's talk Kobe. I'm waiting for this to load. I got Kobe number 5 and number 6 also. I got Kobe 5 or 6 also. So 100 players of all time, which is crazy. Again, Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain should not be here. So I'm gonna take them out of here. But let's see who else is ranked over Kobe. Larry Bird should not be ranked over Kobe Bryant. Larry Bird should not be over Kobe Bryant. Magic Johnson. I can't say nothing about Magic. All right, so yeah. Kobe's top 5 or 6. He's better. That's what you got to say about Kobe. 11 times all defense or 12 times all defense, right? No one's ever done that from the guard position. If you say Michael Jordan is how can you have Kobe outside the top 10 when he's the closest thing you've seen to Jordan? Kobe is the last NBA player to three-peat, him and Shaquille O'Neal. Kobe's the best tough shot maker ever. Kobe has 5 rings. You know, one of my thoughts is we're never going to see another player win 4 or 5 rings again. With the way this new CBA is set up, I don't think we're ever going to see a player win 4 or 5 rings again. This will probably and most likely will be the last time we see that. So Kobe, in terms of what he brings on offense and defense, I don't see how you have him outside the top 10. Larry Bird was a great player. 3 MVPs, 2 finals MVPs. But Larry Bird played on the Boston Celtics with a stacked roster his whole career. Larry Bird went out early because he had back injuries. But Kobe was better. Kobe is the closest thing to Jordan. The footwork of Kobe Bryant. The finishing of Kobe Bryant. Just the athleticism gives him the edge over Larry Bird. I can't have Larry there. I cannot have Larry there. And people were mad at me. I cannot have Larry there. Kobe Bryant is a top 10 player of all time. Without a doubt. And I'm the Steph guy. And I argue Steph over Kobe all day. But I will never disrespect